I'm here with Greg from Ilco, and this is their demo van, what'd you call it?
It is. We have two of them around the US and Canada that travel all the time.
So this is cool. So you've got, how many miles are you putting on this?
I started in Salt Lake City 2 weeks ago, went through Montana, went into Alberta last week, now I'm working BC, then the next month I'll be in Washington, Oregon, Northern Idaho.
Oh, fantastic. So a good trip.
Yeah.
Greg's going to give us a tour of the van. I'll leave it up to Greg here now.
My name's Greg Smallwood, and I am the representative for Ilco in the Pacific Northwest, Washington, Oregon, Alaska, Idaho, Western Montana, Alberta, and BC.
Perfect.
And so here we are in BC this week. This is my second week at it. Actually, yeah, second week at it, and
blur.
It's a blur. Ilco has two vans that travels throughout the U.S. and Canada throughout the year. We try to strategically put it in different places and make sure that we visit all of our partners that are out there. And we visit locksmiths and institutions. We just like to do training and show new products. I like to start on the outside of the van because Ilco's doing a lot of wonderful things, both with their websites and their apps. And probably one of the most important ones is MyKeysPro app. And we have this QR code so you can scan it when you're at the van, or you can go online, or you can just download the app on your computer. This is really important. In the future, this is where I think you're going to find a majority of the information that's useful as a technician, as a locksmith. With this, you're going to register all of your equipment when you need to register it. Also, you can pull things off like schematics. So if you need a new cutter, a new tracer, new parts or pieces, anything you need for equipment, you'll be able to look it on here. MyKeysPro app has actually two versions. We have a free version, which is really useful. And then we have a paid version, which is $9.95. With that, you get really the brains of things like our automotive equipment, like the Smart Pro, and even some useful information like Futuras. And basically how it is applicable is if somebody calls into your shop and says, hey, I've got such and such vehicle, year, make, model, can you do it? You can pull up your app and it tells you exactly what equipment, what keys, what alternative keys, everything you need to work on that vehicle. You can decide, do I have that equipment? Do I want to do the job? It works really great.
Do you have software now that will do the key codes?
Well, no. So when it comes to key codes, usually people belong to something called like NASTF. And so you'll be able to use their service, which is a paid service again. You'll give them like a VIN number and they'll be able to give you codes. Now with our equipment, you'll be able to plug those codes in and be able to apply them and work on them.
How is it going with NASDF, do you think, at the moment?
You know, right now we have really no issues with anything. You know, we've got equipment that's really robust, and we just haven't had any issues. We haven't had any issues with NASTF. We haven't had any issues with really anybody.
So far, it's a little confusing, but I think we're going to work our way through it. But it'd be interesting what happens.
Yeah, there's a lot more details, a lot of things that I don't know about, and you know, maybe later on we can get people on here and talk a little bit more in detail about it.
Again, we're going to do a video just on the NASDF. That's coming up next couple weeks.
So next, we're going to actually go into the van, and this is kind of where all the tools are. We're going to go briefly initially through all the products. We've got actually several Futura machines here, and you know, we've got a family of different machines. The first one I want to show you though is a Futura Pro, and this is kind of our flagship machine. This is where you actually have an edge cut here, where you have an optical reader, which is going to read the edge of the key. And then you also have over here, you've got your high security key. And with this, it's kind of an electronic touch. And with this machine, you're able to do a lot of things. The only thing that this machine is lacking that we have with the machine that's right next to it, this is called the Futura Edge Plus. And with this, you have a rotating head. So you're able to do biaxial type cutting. We haven't had anything like this. Up until about last year, really, we came out with this machine, really had a lot of interest, and Medeco finally and Ilco started talking. Now we have the endorsement of Medeco as this being a great machine.
When did this come out?
So over a year ago, or approximately that, but we recognized the need to have something that does biaxial cuts. So what we did is we took our Futura Edge and we actually put a motor on it, so now it has a rotating head on it.
Oh, that's so perfect.
Yeah, and what's really cool about it is, you know, all the codes and everything are already set up in it. There are specs, and you should probably look at everything that it can or can't do. But when it comes to the Medeco type keys, it can do them, the biaxial cuts. When it reads or decodes a key, literally it takes 3 passes. It takes one in the fore position, one in the center, one in the aft. It takes those 3 passes, it reads each of them, and then it tells you basically if it's a fore or aft and what the depth of cut is.
Gee, that's a game changer to what's out right now, really. Yeah.
And the cost of it too is a fraction of what has been out there in the past.
And is Medeco going to take this as, you think they're going to take this as a certified machine for them?
Well, my understanding, and I still think ours is a great alternative. Ilco's working with Medeco right now to make a Medeco machine.
See, at one time, there's another manufacturer, Medeco would accept this other key manufacturer.
Right.
In my opinion, though, they've slacked off over the last 10 years.
Yeah,
and there's nothing really to replace it. This is probably the replacement for the cutting Medecos.
It is, I think, a fantastic option for those cutting biaxial.
And everybody knows I do like the Medeco M4, and so do a lot of security professionals. That's a game changer.
Right.
It works extremely well.
This is card 464, serial number 9536. This is actual sample that I got from another guy, and he said, hey, you can have this cylinder, you can have this key. For instance, so I pulled this up. So what we want to do is we want to decode this. Okay, so on this, what it's telling me is card, serial number. I figured all that out ahead of time. And then the stop is 0, which is actually just going to be a shoulder stop on this thing. And then it's telling me also it needs clamp side B, which I have here. So I'll go ahead and put this in here. Okay, I lock it up to its shoulder, right? Or align it to its shoulder. Okay, I'm going to leave this in here. Usually you take everything off, so don't get mad at me. Here's another cool thing. So here's the shoulder stop. If I decided to actually go ahead and decode this with the shoulder stop down, I hit start, guess what? It tells me I need to lower that gauge. This way you're not going to be, breaking your cutter and everything else.
You know how many adapters and we break because we leave it up by accident?
Right. Now you'll notice it's going to the first position, and it's going to read through all the cuts. Then it's going to go center, all the cuts.
Will it work with the top up or no? Deep codes and duplicates.
Cuts by code. And duplicates and cuts by code. Correct.
Original every time.
Yep. Now here's the other cool thing. So I can't remember if this is an actual original, but if it is close to an original and that those cuts are in the machine already as a code, it'll bring you up the code.
And not a bad price.
All of this is US dollars
Yes.
as well. So and it's manufacturer suggested retail price.
Yes.
So now we're on our last pass here. This has been a pretty popular machine.
The Medeco machine is so slow and clunky and expensive.
Yeah.
This is a deal right there.
Now it comes up and it's got all of your data that it's read from on this. It tells you both the angle and it also tells you the cut.
Wow, that's fantastic.
But another thing I kind of want to point out on this, again, with this Pro version, it does not have the rotating head, but it does have the high security side over here. You can also get other jaws for this. So this has the capability of also doing engraving if you wanted to put a special jaw in. You can also get a jaw for tubular keys if you want to.
Does it do tibbies?
It does tibbies as well. So jaws for all of these things. And again, when I talk about MyKeysPro app, you can go on even the free version and it'll give you a full list of all the capabilities of different holders, different functions, capabilities. So I kind of wanted to point that out again.
You have to order, is there a full package with all the jaws or you have to?
No, it's kind of it's like an a la carte thing.
Yeah.
So
Perfect.
We do have specials at times, and just check with your local distributor. They'll be able to point that out. You'll notice on this, you've actually got tip stops, right? For your high security side. What you'll notice on this side, you do not have the tip stops. So the difference is now when you load this one, it says, put your tip stop in location 1, 2, or 3. It just shows you a physical, setup for it. With this one, it's telling you just to set it in just past this point right here where the cuts are. And what it does is this tracer right here comes down. It reads the tip of the key, the sides of the key, and actually where the jaw is, so it knows exactly where to start. That's the reason why you don't need a tip stop, essentially.
How's it for domestic, like quick set keys, Slade keys?
It'll do a certain number of them. What I suggest is you just look on. We have application guides for all of them just to make sure. It does a fine job with some of the edge stuff. You gotta have the right jaws. And this is the Poker Pro. This is a brand new machine for me. I just put my hands on it here in the last couple weeks. And you'll notice something. It's kind of the same platform really as the Futura series. It's got kind of the same body footprint, all that sort of thing, but you're going to notice it doesn't have a tablet. The other thing you'll notice, it's got a stop and a start button at the top. And you dive in a little bit deeper, you've got the optical reader here on the right hand side. Okay, so this optical reader reads the edges of the key that you're going to duplicate. And on the left hand side here, you've got the cutter. So in a nutshell, as you put the original in, you got to line it with the shoulder stop, and it goes back against the pin before it'll start. You put the original here, you put the key you're going to duplicate here, you lower this down, and you hit start. And while it's reading optically on the right, it's cutting on the left.
And will it correct worn keys to original?
That's not what this machine does. To my understanding, this is just strictly, it's duplicating exactly what you put in there.
Yeah.
Now, with the Futuras, we'll go back to this. This is a higher level. So when you go to something that's like an edge cut here, and you say you have a worn key, you can actually go in and adjust the cuts on this thing by thousandths if you want to. You can even adjust the actual cuts. So we all know that tips typically have more wear on them than the bow side of the key. So you're able to actually change that cut if you wanted altogether, or again, move the key front, back, forward, out. It's all by thousandths if you want. Let's go to a kind of a more basic machine, the FlashMobile. And I say basic not in a bad way. This is a battery operated machine. So we make this in two versions or two flavors. We do one that's 110, and then we do this FlashMobile. So we do the Flash, and then we do the FlashMobile. You get about 300 cuts per charge on this, and then you plug it in on the side over here. This front display shows how much charge is on it. So when all the lights are lit, it means that it's fully charged. But think about this. A lot of guys were thinking, I'm going to have this as a backup machine. They put it in their van, and they're like, wait a minute, this thing actually cuts really good. And so the other applications on this, say you're a property manager, you're having to go somewhere, it weighs nothing. It's got a little handle on the back. You just carry it with you, put it in a backpack. $799 for an MSRP on this thing. The 110 version is roughly between 130, 150 less than this machine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so if you don't mind having to plug into power all the time, it's same machine, it's just plugged in all the time.
It's perfect for a beginner locksmith.
You know, we were thinking kind of, yeah, they'll keep it emergent. No, people are using them every day.
Well, it's a good machine anyways. That line is a solid line.
Yeah, it really is. And one thing, I didn't think I'd like this handle, but I really like the dial. So as you put pressure on the key and the cutter, you actually use this dial to actually move it forward and back. And it's really smooth.
Okay, I think I want one.
Next, we're going to get into the Speed Series, and this is our 044, but we do this in a manual, an automatic, a semi-automatic. These are really good duplicators. They're meant for volume. They just do a really fantastic job. Bravo 3. Every few years they kind of do something to just kind of tweak it so it's a little bit better, but I've seen some of these things out there that are 30 years old, or so they're pretty amazing.
And still parts available.
Still parts available. And again, MyKeysPro app is going to have all the schematics, parts, pieces, cutters, brushes, everything you need.
That's what drives me nuts with some of the offshore stuff.
Yep.
Try to get parts.
Yeah.
Impossible.
Yeah.
Or they look at you like you're stupid.
Right.
You know, and there's another North American company. They want to make their key machines obsolete after 5 years.
Yeah. Which
is just getting broken into most locksmith shops.
Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take us over here to this wall, and we kind of get a little automotive here all of a sudden. So this is our lookalike remote program. We've had this out for several years. It is super successful. The one thing, and we were talking earlier, that I really love about the lookalike remotes that we have is they're super reliable, they're super consistent. You don't generally run into a lot of problems with it. And that is one of the biggest problems that we hear from locksmiths is consumers will go online, buy something from eBay, or they'll buy it from Amazon or something else, and they're going to get a product that may or may not work, may or may not have a transponder, may or may not be the same frequency that needs to operate on a vehicle, and we just don't have those problems. So what we've done here is we've put basically a simulator on here. We've got a 2017 Honda Accord, and essentially it's the instrument cluster, the OBD port, and power switch. So what we're able to do is actually demonstrate on the Smart Pro or the Smart Pro Lite, how to operate, how to put keys in, take keys out. This is something basically where you can originate, plug into an OBD port, and very economically add keys or take keys out. This is for if you've lost all keys or if you just, again, want to add keys. Whereas if you go to the RW5 here, for instance, you're cloning. So this is where you would need an existing key. You're going to read it, take it out with a snoop to the car, pull some information out, come back, and actually be able to program your keys. The difference here is every car has so many slots available, and with a cloner, you're able to kind of fool the car into thinking, I only have one key in slot 1, where you've actually duplicated it or cloned it several times. So that's a value. But for the cost of actually adding and deleting keys out of a car, I really think that the Smart Pro is a fantastic way to go. Now, 2 really cool programs. MyKeysPro app, again, has the capability of when you buy a remote, there's a QR code on the back of the remote. With the Smart Pro, you're able to scan that code and get $1 off UTP. So it goes into your bank, and you can either take it a UTP or just a token itself. Then we just launched here several months ago the Smart Pro Lite, and how it works is, first of all, it's less money than the Smart Pro, and when you scan one of these codes, it allows you to do a job on the machine as long as it's in the application guide. Right now, the Smart Pro Lite does about 75-80% of what the total applications are of the Smart Pro, but now you can do it very, very economically. A lesser, cost machine, which is actually the same machine. We've just turned it into a Smart Pro Lite, not a full-blown Smart Pro, and you're able to do it for the cost of a lookalike remote. Pretty fantastic. Where in the past, you buy this machine, it's still a great value, and you can do a majority of the cars that are out there, but you scan that and you get $1 towards UTPs in the future. The next thing that we've done is we've put one of our family of engravers. This is the Engrave It XP. As you can see, there's 12 slots on here. You're able to actually engrave 12 different things. This is a computer, and what you're doing is the example that I'm using here is serializing, which means I've set a base of Ilco Van 1, and I've said, okay, from here what I want to do is I want to go up in increments of 1 digit, so I want to go from 1 to 2 to 3, and I'm only doing it 3 times. But this is also a perfect example if you have a master key system, and say you wanted to engrave like 2 with the same number in a row, and you wanted to do 100, you'd line them up, do it. As soon as it stops with these 12, it'll say line up the next 12 and go on. But this example of serializing saves so much time, so much money. It's you just set it and kind of forget it. We do this also in a Pro version. We also do it in an XL version, which is about 50% larger. And we've also just come out with a new version, which is kind of a touch, very easy, kind of one and done. It's without the software and the computer. It's just got a touch screen, very quick and easy. So we've got them from very simple 1 at a time all the way up through, I can't remember what the XL is, but it's I believe it's around 30 plus or so keys.
Thanks a lot, Greg, for the tour of the Ilco demo van. I really learned something today. And you're going to be, we'll put a link where he's going to be, where you can see all this stuff in your local supplier down the West Coast, not California, almost all the way down.
No, down to Southern Oregon, and then I pass it on to the California guys.
And so when you go to the demo, tell Greg you saw the video here. Okay, have a good day. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Subscribe to my channel. Also, visit my website, and you can see what online locksmith training I have for beginners, intermediate, and advanced, as well as my covert methods of entry and my non-destructive methods of entry.